I will lead. All right, team. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. And happy Monday. Um, I like to hit home runs on Monday because it sets the pace and the standard for the rest of the week. In subconscious fashion, we're going to go from top down, working our way down. So Ambush, get ready. You're going to be first. Please, everyone, try to show your beautiful faces, especially when it's your turn, and give us an update on what you're going to be working this week, anything that you're grateful for, and of course, if you have any blockers, we're here to unblock them. All right, Ambush, take it away.
Hi guys, happy Monday. Hope you all had a great weekend. So for this week, my sole task is trying to get my implementation into the dev. Yeah, so I'll be working on that. I'll be working with Hadi as well to set up the front end. Yeah. And apart from that, on my blockers, Avi, I still don't have access to GitHub. And and I feel that the way that I'm testing my yeah, yep, sure. Yeah. Yeah. And the second thing is the way that I'm testing my implementation right now is that every time I query my graph track, I go back to the market simulator. I take that information from there, put it into Claude, and have it compared whether the both answers are somewhere around the ballpark of what is expected. But yeah, so I'm not sure if this is the best way to test it. But yeah, for now, that's where I'm at. Yeah. Yeah, for now, I've not done much testing, but I guess with you and Subhav on that. Okay, sure. Okay, sure. So that's all for me. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Sure. Sure. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
And on that note, Avi, you are next. Thank you, Avi. And just for context too, um, you know, people always think, oh, okay, well, fundraising, CEO, right? Like Avi is the greatest, salesperson for the company. Um, what people don't know is just the fact that the reason why Avi will be able to go out, right, and do the book running and talk to all these investors is because he's assembled a team of generals and a rock star team that can maintain the home, and continue to build and accelerate and all that stuff. So it takes a village, um, you know. All right, moving that now to Chin.
Hi guys, happy Monday. Right, and yeah, so last week I said I would do a little bit of reading. I still have some more homework left. I've learned a bit about um, different choice models, like multinomial logic models and like hybrid choice models. I read the 4 chapters. There are still a few more papers left. For this week, um, I'm hoping at least today to like, I think there's a session with Madi later on where I'll be uh, hopefully be able to run Rehoboam on the shared GCP server. And yeah, after that, um, I guess I'll see about the direction. But yeah, hopefully I'll get a better idea of how the respondents LLM section works, and then we'll see from there. That's it.
Okay, Florent.
Hi, everybody. So I looked this weekend at the orange shiny code that Vivek has built and been overseeing, and so like trying to read a bit more about the code, get a bit more into the code. And so now my plan is to so I'll be working in Void Camp, so the Shiny app, to set up some automated tests so that I'm able to be confident that when I make changes, I'm not breaking things. And once I've done that, I will talk with Tativik about doing the same thing about the R code in Rehoboam. And so basically building automated tests, refactoring the R code so that we can make changes. I mean, people who are not Tativik can make changes to the R code and the Shiny code while being confident that they're not breaking existing functionality. And so that will be, I think, like some foundational but really helpful work to move forward. And then also with Pablo and her side of the house, getting set up with customer discovery. So my goal moving forward is going to be try to talk to one current user and one potential user, so like market researcher per week, record these interviews and have them somewhere so that the team can get a sense of like, okay, these are what the current user are asking for, this is what the potential user are thinking, and so have that information available. Although that's my next step, just setting some groundwork before getting into bigger pieces.
Thank you, Florent. That's exciting. Let us know how we can lean in and help. And now we're going from Florent to Florian.
Hello, everybody. This week I'm going to be working on the transcription pipeline for papers to the experiment configuration we can use in the human baseline. I'm using the RAG I used for the PDF to traits that I implemented a while back. I have a first implementation right now, and it just needs a lot of tuning, especially in the prompts, to really guide the process. Yeah, that's what I'll be working on this week.
All right. Linnea? Is that right?
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
a new person actually.
Oh, Tatavi, why don't you introduce this new person, maybe?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So let me introduce you to Linnea, everyone. She's going to work on the analytics and are shiny with me. So yeah, would you like to give a quick introduction? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Linnea. I'm excited to be here, excited to meet you all. I've done a lot of our shiny stuff in the past, so looking forward to having that be useful here a little. Yeah. I'm in upstate New York. Yeah, freezing.
Share a little bit.
So far, it's only getting colder from here. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I was going to say, tell us a random fact about you so we can get to know Linnea even better. Sorry to put you on the spot.
No worries. Sure. A random fact about me. Let's see. I am increasingly involved in agriculture and had studied an agriculture degree for a couple years.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I haven't. Did I check it out? Uh-huh. Yeah. No, there's a lot of really cool breeding work going on here. Especially also in like heritage grains, that sort of thing, but I won't get into it right now. But it's really neat. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Welcome. Next, we have our favorite magician, Madi.
Thank you, Paula. So, yep. Hi, everyone. So, today I worked with Subut on the human baseline fixes and will work on setting up a Rehoboam project for the new engineers joined us. And the rest of the week, I will work with them and make sure they are aligned. And also, from my side, I will work on the enhancements, actually the RAF and the pre-commit things that I mentioned. I will finish that app and yeah, these things. Back fix is also included, which is always. So
Fantastic. Thank you, Madi. All right, Mia.
Hey guys. This week I am editing one of Avi's podcasts and we're trying to make clips to post on LinkedIn. And small update from like some of the LinkedIn like cold outreach that I did last week. I'm seeing like a lot of people click into. I've gotten like 13 people that have like clicked my profile and like stalked, but no responses. But I feel like that also is gonna help me figure out, because I can see some people's like icons of like what company like who stalked me, which was a lot of like marketing agencies and some, and like Aldi, which was like a big like grocery store chain. So this will probably help me figure out how to do some like next steps of like my next step of like outreach and forming. So that's all I have right now for this week. Okay, yeah, I'll run an experiment because you probably have more leverage than like my profile would have your background, so that would probably help. But I'll run an experiment today.
All right. But one thing, just to give credit, doing outreach, guys, is not easy. There's a great degree of humility involved and bravery and courage. And sometimes, the response is not the kindliest, right? And so to give credit, Mia, love the engagement. Let's continue doing it. We're not here selling product. We are offering value. That is what we sell. So it's an opportunity for everyone that we talk to indoctrinate them and get them here in front of Subconscious. All right, my turn. Update. Similar to Avi, I'm excited. We have like a crazy long session to gear up the fundraising war room, get all the assets in order to start a fundraising campaign. Additionally, and I'm excited that it seems Michael Ankambianika is joining today. Hopefully we sent the contract last week and all that good stuff. So yeah, let's we can connect and go from there. But that's very much at the tail end. So I spent the weekend actually creating some really fun onboarding material as well as sale processes to get the AE live and onboarded and ready to go ASAP, which is the goal. So I'll probably be spending a lot of time having him shadow me and all that good stuff. That's exciting. That's pretty much it. Other than that, also continued outreach, providing support to Tushar, who's working on a really cool project on the front end. I'll let him kind of share more context there. Empowering the team when I can. That's pretty much it. I will pass it over to Owen. Obviously, today is a special day. We're going to hopefully see the University of Notre Dame Fighting Irish absolutely destroy Ohio State for the national championship. I'm going to repeat that again. Hopefully, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish beat the crap out of Ohio State later today. So that's something to look forward to. I'm going to pass it over to Subodh.
All right. So I guess in terms of work, last week we had a little bit of a small breakthrough. So in the end, I'm going to show some numbers, and then we probably will reflect upon what we have. But if this trend holds out, then this is really helps us establishing the LLM and human equivalence to a large degree, not superficial. I'm talking like absolute numbers. So I'll show you some numbers in the end, and then we'll discuss. It's going to be pretty nice. And then that is pretty much it. In terms of work, this week, I'll do some polishing in terms of last set of human baseline changes that I have to make, and then we can run on scale. and really have some nice values now for the showcase by end of this week. And then I'm gonna wait, hopefully, from Atish if he's done with pushing his data and everything, so that we can integrate data selection. That this will be the population definition, both from the UI perspective as well as from the backend survey and everything. So yeah, as if when Atish ready, and I'll take in that into account. And Florian has already put in his attitude PR. So I'll work on basically getting that whole thing integrated into the back end, which basically means a couple of additional LLM calls and making them all part of the survey and then the estimation. So I guess I'll bug that the week then this week once I'm done with the backend changes. So I guess a lot of exciting stuff gonna happen now within the next 2 weeks in terms of our capabilities and yeah, replication, everything. So yeah, I think I'm done with my blabber.
This sounds transformative. It sounds like next level. Like I feel like there's going to be a Netflix documentary about this. Suppose. So you've
Let's
got
see.
everyone on the seat. What is it? On the edge of their seats. Yeah.
Let's see.
All right. Tatavik.
Hello everyone, happy Monday. So since Friday, whatever was left to do with the null levels, it's done. So I tested on multiple experiments. There are no issues there on the dashboard. Also, as I also previously in some random plots, the not available level was still popping, so I got rid of those as well. Today I've been pushing to void camp mainly, which means those are like small bugs and fixes. And I plan to spend the rest of the day working with Liana and having her settled, make sure she has the code and everything. That's on my part.
Short and sweet. All right, Tushar.
Hi everyone, happy Monday. So for this week, I plan to get a POC for the new website up and like demo it on Wednesday and Friday. Also, I needed a bit help in the design aspect. Can we like have some design help in Figma designs so that we can develop and design in parallel? Oh, that was something I was uh, wanted to ask. Uh, rest. Okay, sure. So basically, going to work on getting that POC for the new website. Yeah, yeah, Pablo and Ashley.
Tushar, I think what would be helpful is writing down kind of like, okay, here are the needs, right? Which I think you have done. Just writing it down. This for this reason, this for this reason, this for this reason. Make it really simple, and that will Avi and I we can review
Yeah, sure,
and
sure. I'll do that.
and empower, right? So that we can unblock.
Okay, sure. Mhm. Okay, got it. Okay. Understood. Understood.
I think that's a great idea. We can write a whole article about that, right? Like if you hit a home run, Tushar, which we know you will, right?
Mhm.
Now we can say, well, hey, guess what? You can do this. too, or at least the efficacy behind the design of the the website, because you can use our product, our tool. Yeah,
Yep.
great call. Love that. All right, all right, all right. Atish.
Yeah, so I wish I could say I got the PR out, but sorry, Subodh, I didn't. I don't know why, but I'm not able to populate the tables. I think it's a permissions issue because I was reading like if things don't work, then it might just be that the permissions aren't there and so it just doesn't execute. So I will sit with Mahdi and troubleshoot it, and I hope to figure everything out in daily task sync so I can make progress. That's all from me. This is like uh integrating Postgres and like putting all our data into it so that we can query it for the population. Yeah. Uh, I should. I think you said I have Copilot. I'll add that. Yeah, I use the remote dev machine. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Mo.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, for me, I was working on getting the CI/CD pipeline for Rehoboam, and that's done. I'm done to it today, but uh, um, tomorrow, I'm not working tomorrow as I'm traveling. So if I didn't test it today, so it must be like after 2 days. And once it's confirmed, I'll test it with Mahdi, confirm everything is going well, and then I'll move forward with other services. But for now, it's almost done. It's just the testing to confirm everything is doing this message to move our servers from the monolithic one to Kubernetes. So this is the aim for this week. It's solved. I think I talked to Mahdi and it's solved. He told me that Double Cloud managed to solve it using Kubernetes. They have deployed something called Shiny Proxy Controller on Kubernetes to solve this issue, and it's solved. Okay.
Love it. Great update. Ambush. Wait, Ambush, I think you already went. Is that correct?
Yes, Pablo.
Yep. Thank you. Hadi.
Hello everyone. Happy Monday. So this week I will be working on Amboj implementation in the UI to add a chatbot in the UI. Yeah, sure, of course.
Beautiful. And Madi already went. And so last but not least, Rupesh.
Okay. Hi, happy Monday, everyone. I'm into the task. I have worked on researching about React Lucide and ShardCN as instructed by the Madi for centralizing icons and components respectively on our application. Um, I have researched and I will put my viewpoints about it with Madi after the stand-up. And this morning I connected with Subodh to go through a few other bugs where I will be working on improving it right as instructed by Subodh today. And we'll raise a PR for brainstorm issue once Subodh fixes it on the back end. And I don't have any blockers for now. Yeah, that's it about the task. Thanks, everyone. Want a black, right? Yeah, sure. Okay. I'll do that.
All right. I think that's everyone, Avi. Any demos? I know that there's a lot of excitement, a few demos.
All right, let me talk about the human baseline stuff. Let me know you can see my screen.
It's loading. We
Yes.
can see it now.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't know if everyone knows by what we mean by human baseline here, but it basically means we take a published paper and then we try to replicate the paper using our platform to see how best or how worse are we in terms of matching the paper. And the way we compare is the following. So we take the papers which have used conjoint/stated preference surveys for any context. Context doesn't matter. What matters is that paper should have used stated preference survey because that's what our platform is about. So then they will collect the data based with humans, and then they will estimate a model, and then for attributes and levels, they will have a preference weight, what is called as beta. So basically, then our goal is if we did the same thing with our platform and estimated the model, how close are we able to get in terms of those preference weight/beta, what we have versus what the paper has reported. So the closer we can get, the more confident we can be saying that LLMs are able to replicate human behavior, and hence any other experiment you do on our platform has a higher validity in real world. So far what we have been doing is the following. So whenever you run any kind of experiment and we create the survey design, it's always certain number of options. Up until this point, couple of days back, it always used to be 2 plus 1. So by 2, it will be like option 1, option 2, which will be a combination of attributes and labels. And then the third option used to be opt out. So if you don't want to choose option 1 and 2, they both are shitty to you, you can choose to do opt out. And this is how we'll do the survey. Now, in most almost 99% of the papers that you'll find in academia, people will not include opt-out, and there is a specific reason for it. Because once you start including opt-out in your survey, and a good chunk of people choose that, then you have very less amount of information, and hence the model and insight that you can generate is going to be pretty minimal. And this is the reason why people will not include opt-out. But we have been doing this so far. So from a survey design perspective, you can say that we are not exactly matching the way the survey was generated and shown to people just because we had this additional opt-out. So then what we thought was, okay, let's try getting rid of the opt-out and just show like LLM has to choose one or the other option from whatever we show. And that will probably lead to increase in the information that we get in terms of preference elicitation. And that should improve the model. So that's the first part. And then the second part is that most of the time the results that paper have it in terms of model is mostly either a multinomial logic model, which is also called as logistic regression, or this will be like some variant of MNL with heterogeneity, which is called mixed logit. Now, since a little bit of math, this mixed logit model is based on a distribution which has a very bigger variance. So what that means in terms of numbers is that there is a good chance that you'll see values which are really high in magnitude, absolute magnitude. So then in generally in papers that if you look at the betas, they tend to be somewhere in the range of, -2 to +2. Once things start blowing beyond 3 and 4, it's a good sign that something is going wrong. So then there is another set of models which are based on a different distribution called normal distribution. And since that has a smaller scale, it is less susceptible to that kind of explosion. And the betas tend to stay sort of in a real good bound. So this is a small test that we ran. So in this paper, there are two attributes. And one attribute has 4 labels, the other one has 2, so 6. So 6 minus 2, 4 parameters to be estimated. So if we do the survey with opt-out the way we currently do, and we do all the calculations, our Spearman correlation, which is pretty nice using MNL model, 0.8, all good, right? Like this is a really good number. But if you look at the absolute error in the absolute magnitude of the betas, this is like 19.68. This is very, very high. So this is what we get, like value is what we estimated and reported value is what the paper has told. So if you look at that, this is like 0.2, 0.31. We are somewhere around 6.5, 8, 3 and 4. So even though we are able to maintain the order to a good extent, the magnitudes are all over the place. And also for one parameter, the sign is also flipped, right? We got positive, they have it negative. So now what happens if we change from MNL to MNP, right? What I was saying earlier. So now these are the corresponding beta values. So of course, now if I look at the Spearman correlation, this is same 0.8, right? No improvement. But if I look at my mean absolute error for beta, I go from almost 20 to 9. It's almost half. And now if you look at the beta, this is like 2, 3, 3.5, whereas earlier we were getting 6.5, 8, right? So at least if we go from MNL to MNP, we are able to reduce the parameter explosion to a good extent. Now, what happens now if we don't include opt-out? So now we really replicate the way the survey was done with humans, okay? And now we don't have an opt-out. Now, if you look at the Spearman correlation using the MNL, we go from 0.8 to 1. So just by removing the opt-out, the ordering is preserved. So if this is 1, it literally means even we are able to match everything on the sign as well, right? So this thing was positive in the earlier case. Now we are able to get this thing to negative. And now if I look at my mean absolute error, I'm going from 20 to 9 to 3.68. Now the same one, now if I move from MNL to MNP, my Spearman correlation is 1, which is great. But look at my MNP, I'm able to get even lower, right? Like these numbers are even smaller. So in a nutshell, if we stop including opt-out and move from MNL to MNP, it not only improves our Spearman correlation, the ordering, but it also reduces the gap in terms of the absolute magnitude itself. Now, this is a small example, right? We are only estimating 4. So it could be like, okay, there's less parameters, so not that great. So then I did two more experiment. So this is one where we had 5 attributes. In total, we estimated 8 parameters. Our Spearman, for that, we get 0.93. So now here, we are not including opt-out, and we are estimating MNP. And the mean absolute error is 3.32. We go to another one where we're estimating 15 parameters. We go get 0.85, 1.82. Before that, we are getting mean absolute error. In general, if we had like attributes like 8 and 10, it will be somewhere around like 500, 700 mean absolute error. So our betas were literally all over the place in terms of magnitude. So we are now able to improve our Spearman as well as mean absolute error. So now my guess is if we're able to also match the population distribution with a bit of more tricks, I guess, we will be able to match everything even at the AMC level. So not just the order, not just the beta, but also on a probability. And that will really, with that, we can say with like a lot of conviction that we are indeed able to replicate. So this is what I was saying, like this is a really nice thing that has happened over a week period. Like we're really going in a really nice direction. So hopefully by this week, we have at least 30, 40 different study replicated with varying number of attributes and everything. And that will give us a really nice, clear picture. But given this trend, I'm pretty hopeful we'll be in a pretty good place now. All right. And that is it.
I'm curious to get team's thoughts.
Amazing.
I think Tatavik can appreciate more now with the smaller numbers because I'm assuming she's used to saying numbers like 10 and 12 for absolute magnitude of betas. But like go from 20 to like 1.5 with just 2 changes in the design and estimation. And that's a pretty big deal. Mhm. No, so now, no, so now we let anything from 2 to 6, depending upon the number of attributes and labels. Mm. So that was using the earlier version of Core 2, but we were doing with opt-out and MNL. Mm-hmm. No, we're not increasing the noise. So that's the thing, right? When you're doing any kind of stated preference survey, to a good extent, you are assuming that whatever attributes you have selected is what to a maximum extent going to affect your choices. So if you really want to maximize the signal to noise ratio for those labels and attributes, then we should not include opt out. And that's one of the reason why in any academic paper, it's a rarity. Survey is well designed, but at the same time, by not allowing people to choose opt out, right? You ensure that at least to a good extent, then people will choose something. Because if once people start choosing opt out, then you basically have nothing. Like you wasted the whole survey.
I mean, another thing here. Yeah, I mean, another thing to keep in mind is that, I mean, we have, there are two different goals. One goal is to map to the academic studies so that we can say, hey, this is working correctly. But then the academic study itself may not be fully representative of behavior in the real world because, like, they're like, hey, I'm not allowing opt out because I want to get clear result I can publish, even if that does not reflect the reality. So like we have mapping to reality and mapping to academic studies, and so there's a little bit of the divergence here that we have to resolve one way or another. And so like depending on what people want, we can say, hey, when we do things the academic way, we're mapping to what they do, so you can be confident that we're doing our thing work. But then when you want to map to reality, we might want to do things a bit differently to map to a different baseline.
And that's why I was thinking actually in our UI, we will now allow users to have whether they want to include the opt out in the DISA survey or not. And then we can have this probably somewhere in the blog post, like, okay, by doing this, like Florian explained, these are the things that you do. So this will again go back to some context where if you observe a lot of opt-outs, like advent calendar example that keeps coming to my mind that Sarah had run. So because you had so much opt-out, you can barely get any information. So basically there's nothing you can conclude. So now in that case, force people to make a choice so that you can have something meaningful. Let's say you started with 8 or 9 attributes, get whatever top 2 3 that you think is more important, and then take that and then you use an opt out and see if you are able to then make some sense out of it. So you can think of that way. So first try to really force people, get as much as you can, and then map to reality. Internal consistency. Hmm. I'm not even doing that because that is impossible now because we allow up to 6 alternatives. So how many ordering you gonna do? But that's the thing, right? So, I mean, Chin's here, right? So now that with Chin here, right, we'll be able to include reasoning at the task level. And so rather than asking, okay, I show you AB versus BA, which one do you pick? Versus I will literally ask, what strategy did you use to pick it up, make the choice? And then just by asking that, we have better insight. I mean, we still have one more. I mean, we still have one trick up our sleeve, right? Like once we even match on the population definition of the paper, if that also improves this correlation and reduces the mean absolute error, then anything we do after that is basically an added bonus. Uh, I did not calculate that, but I had it the Spearman, which is around 85% based on the Heinmuller study. But rather than saying human to human MAE, we can do more of a coverage probability. Because let's say you make people do 5 tasks, right? So based on task 1, you have one set of beta and standard errors. Then based on task 2, you have mean and standard error. Now do the upper lower bound and see if the both of them overlap anywhere. If they do, then all the difference you had was based on sampling distribution, and hence the coverage probability is 100%, right? So I mean, we can do the same thing here as well. What we get plus the upper and lower bound, and if we see that sort of captures what the actual paper has reported, then we can also check at the coverage probability level. So at least in a distribution sense, we are close enough as well. Mm. Uh, it's not a uniform error. So basically, when you estimate create any discrete choice model, you have two things. You basically have this IIA assumption, right? Independence of irrelevance alternative. So it's like if I do a survey with 3 alternatives, and let's say my probabilities are whatever, 0.5, 0.25, 0.25. Now, if I add a fourth one, what IIA will do, it will take the same amount of probability in proportion to all 3 and give it to the 4th one. So if the fourth alternative that you added is more similar to the first one, most of the probabilities then should come from the first one and not from the second and third. But doing an MNL, pure MNL will do that. Now with MNP, because you can allow for non-IID error, which is not identically distributed, it takes care of the IIA issue. And I'm not even doing the non-IID here yet. If we do that, my guess is we'll perform even better. This is basically the first shot that I'm trying. But just because the normal distribution has a smaller scale, right? So if you ever looked into, so if you do a logit by probit estimation, the average of the beta value, right? Beta logit by beta probit, it will be anywhere between 1.6 to 1.8. And since this is sort of based on the extreme value distribution, like I said in the beginning, you have a chance that you see something exploding because it allows for a really big PMF in the tail, whereas probit won't do much. So you sort of tend to keep things close. Not at the, no, no, it's not in the attribute level, right? It is in the utility that you put there. So you always write like U of A, which is, let's say option A is something like X beta plus error. So the error is always on the utilities range. And then utilities are basically unbounded minus infinity to this. But since when you do logit, right, like you're basically doing this of this one. Now, if you change, let's say U from 1 to 1.2, the exponential of 1 to 1.2 is a very large change, right? Versus if you're doing a probit, You are basically doing the CDF at U, CDF of normal distribution in this case. Now, CDF, if you calculate the normal CDF at 1 versus 1.2, the changes are not so big. And hence, it sort of helps with this explosion problem. That's just a mathematical trick. Because when you are publishing a paper, you have all the time you can control. So you try, okay, I first introduce this parameter, next that, so that none of this explosion happens. So you can do that. Since we can't do that, we need to have something robust. And finally, like once we convert everything on an AMC scale, then it doesn't matter what model we started with, because then everything is on the probability scale. So then the distribution is irrelevant. I think once we get 30-40 study with good enough 0.8, 0.9 Spearman, a mean absolute error within 2 and 3, that's a pretty good numbers to show.
All right, guys, any other demo? Or anything else to highlight? I suspect there's going to be a roadshow from Subodh. Now that he's cracked this code, there's going to be a lot more that, we can do. So this is only the beginning. Subodh, you should, in a very professorial way, write an article about this.
Yeah, I was thinking once we consolidate with 30-40, then at least on our blog post, we can write like, okay, this is how we started to, this is how we are here today. And this is the kind of progression we are able to achieve.
That's right. We have intellectual horsepower. We need the world to know that. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. I think this was a great stand-up. Hopefully it was insightful. I certainly learned a bit. Avi, any final words? That's right.